another compliment. There she is. And welcome to Hot Mics, a special day today, special interview with the author of a book I recently devoured quickly. It's been too long. I've been watching too many streaming series. You know what I mean? I'm just one after the other. I'm just sucked into DTF St. Louis, and then I move over to the Madison for and then I'm watching Shrinking, and it just goes on. I forgot that I like to read, and I forgot that when I do read, I sleep better. Like, what happened to reading? And it took a great sort of riveting story that I could relate to do that for me. And this is a book that you've probably heard of. It's exploded in popularity. It's #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and it's written from personal experience by Belle Burden. It is the story of a seemingly stable marriage she thought she had, shattered overnight during the COVID pandemic. Like that wasn't weird enough. And her husband just left sort of abruptly. And the book traces her attempt to understand what happened. Who is this person with whom I shared 20 years? And she uncovers betrayal and financial manipulation, emotional blind spot, all kinds of things happen along the way to where I'll tell you what happens in the end. She sells the book to Netflix, and they're going to make a movie, and it's going to star Gwyneth Paltrow in the role of
me.
Belle Burden. There she is. Hi, Belle.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Billy. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so happy to talk to you, and I have to be honest, I feel like I know you. We have some mutual friends, but I feel like I know you. I know I don't, but we are fellow double Bs, so we start there.
We are. It's a very special thing.
Double B, I wonder, where are you today, in this moment, right now? Emotionally.
Well, physically, I'm in New York.
You're in an apartment.
Yes. It's very hot in New York today, 85 degrees. And it feels at this point like the book has a life of its own, and I'm kind of following along with it. It is something I really never expected to have happen. I was turned down by all the book clubs, Oprah, Reese, Jenna, all of them. And so I thought it would be a quiet book that friends passed amongst friends. Maybe
Wait, all those people passed on your book?
They all did. They all passed.
Why? Because the one before them passed?
Well, I think there was some concern that I don't really find an answer. And I think there was concern that the reader would be unsatisfied by that. I had the same concern. We also heard once, I can't remember which group it was from, but that there wasn't a happy ending, and their readers like a happy ending. And I thought, but there is a happy ending. I see this as a completely happy, a really wonderful.
Well, there is one now
for me. But there is not, we don't get back together. I don't find a new man. And there is, that is not a normal formula for success. So that was interesting. So I really thought it'd be quiet. So this has just been absolutely astonishing. I'm so grateful for it. Okay. It's been overwhelming at times, but I feel very, very lucky.
Why do you think, in spite of what they thought, or that conventional thought, it was successful? It's maybe because there is no ending. Maybe the lack of this the storybook ending is what sometimes life delivers, which is just like.
I think so, and I think readers have more of a tolerance for that than any of us anticipated. I think it reflects life. I think often we don't get answers, and not just in divorce and other difficult things. So I think people see themselves in that. I think I've heard from a lot of people who've experienced the same exact thing as me. Mm-hmm. But people, it's been people have seen themselves in many aspects. They're children of divorce that have reached out to me. People who have experienced loss in other forms and had to negotiate social settings. There just seems to be, and then I think sometimes books come out at a particular moment in our culture where it seems to fit the exact right moment. And then I also hope that the writing is that it's an entertaining read, and
Hmm.
that I've heard from people who like you, we've all been streaming too much, and it's nice to hear that people are consuming it all at once or over a few days. That feels great. That they're appreciating it as a piece of literature too.
Yeah, they sure are. Funny, you did Oprah's podcast, so I'm just wondering, did you have a little moment where you're like, "Hey, Opes, you
I
passed,
What's that?
you passed on my book."
I did not say that. I did not. I don't think it
You
ever
don't
got
need
to.
to.
I think there's so many layers before it
Yeah.
gets to her, and they do a great job, but it did not
Hey,
get to her.
Gail, you passed on my book. No, no, no.
She had really read it. She had lots of tabs on every pages. I was so it was a surreal moment for me to be sitting down with her.
Well, right into the book, Belle was married for 20 years, two daughters, just what she thought was sort of a happy, idyllic marriage. And Belle, you told me, in the book, you said like 2 months before your husband, who goes by James, before he says he wants to leave or abruptly departs, it's like he's hanging a sign at the house in Martha's Vineyard. He's like hanging up a sign naming the home and like doing things that seemed like normal and that you were happy. So really,
Like
you got hit
invested, yeah.
bang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I do include a bunch of those details. He bought a new mattress, very expensive mattress in January. He planted raspberry and blueberry bushes at our house in Martha's Vineyard, which take a long time to bloom. There were a
Hmm.
number of things that seemed like someone that was still in it for the long haul. I did not have, it was not a marriage with a lot of fighting. We did not have a lot of discord. He never told me once that he was unhappy. And I was really very much in love with him. I wanted to be married. So it came as a total and complete shock.
It's interesting. Maybe it seems to me that that part. I'm going to venture that part of him was real. That he wasn't planning on leaving. He was probably in this affair that had begun, and until, and this is an amazing moment in the book. It's gripping, I guess, to the reader that the woman with whom he was having an affair, her husband calls you and he says, "Hey,
Yeah.
by the way, your husband and my wife, they're having an affair," and just hits you with that. You confront him. And I just get the sense that in that moment, he was like, "Whoa, didn't see that coming." You confronted him and he just went, "Okay, yes, it's true. And I'm leaving." And just, it came out before he even thought.
Yes, I think that
Ish.
night when I got that phone call, he was initially very apologetic, said it didn't mean anything, and then something changed overnight.
Mm. Oh.
The woman he was having an affair with took some sleeping pills. She ended up in the hospital. She was okay, but I think that changed the dynamic in some way. And I think, I'll never really know what flipped that switch for him. He describes it as a switch going. Um, but it did feel like, um, it felt like there could have been an alternative path where he didn't make that choice.
Hmm.
I'll never really know. I'll never know if he was feeling this way for a significant period of time. Something was clearly wrong to have an affair to begin with. But I'll never really know if he had been planning it for a long time.
Right.
And this just accelerated it. COVID accelerated it. Or
So
if
no
this
closure in the book and no closure in real life. You've never actually
No, and
talked
I
about it.
think I asked him, repeatedly when it happened. I begged for some understanding. It would have been almost easier to hear that he was madly in love and was going to start a life with this woman, but that was not
Right.
the case. Um, I asked him if there was something wrong with me. I asked him what he was unhappy about. And he just could give me nothing. He went totally silent. I tried again over the years that followed. And the most he can say is that a switch flipped and that it wasn't my fault and that something broke in him. So
Okay.
sometimes I think maybe he just really doesn't know either.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever get do you ever get the sense that there's regret or
I don't. And I think I never expected him to come back. He's a very definitive person, but I think I really longed for some regret, some
Sure.
acknowledgement, some sadness over it. And I've never seen that. I've never received that. I've never seen that. And that is something
A little torture for him
a
would
little
be comforting.
torture. And I think I imagined it. I sort of would write this narrative in my head that he was, I'm sitting here and at home tortured and sad, and so is he. But I don't think he was. I think he just went from being a husband and father to being something else, and he was not going to look back and feel sad about it. But I don't know. It's possible that he did, and I just didn't hear any of it.
Well, he announces he's leaving, no warning at all of a sudden. I what is it? The girls that kept you from falling apart entirely, knowing that?
So I have three kids. Two daughters were with us
Oh, your son! I forgot about
on the
your
vineyard.
the big
Yes,
guy.
and yes,
He did COVID on his own out there in Long
he
Island.
he did. He was
I don't
happily
need you
with
people.
a group of teenage boys. And so yes, my girls. For a month, I pretended like nothing was wrong, which was, I think, a mistake. But I was a mess. I was on the bathroom floor. For hours, I couldn't get out of bed. I was not eating. I was showing up at dinner, with swollen eyes. I tried to cook. I couldn't really cook. And my daughter, who was 15 at the time, um, said she really wanted to cook and learn to cook. And I learned later that she knew because she had read a text on my iPad. She knew what had happened.
Oh,
And I know she was cooking to try and keep me afloat and trying to take care of her sister. And that really breaks my heart because 15 is pretty young to to have to take care of your mom
what
like
an
that.
empathetic, sweet
She
girl.
really is.
And oh man, was there? It's amazing because you also share these stories about like going to cocktail parties or something or trying to get yourself going, and then like some guy would say some insensitive thing. And did you find that the friends that you have together, that people fell into the right places, those who would stand by you expected would, and they did, and those by him would, and some we'd share, and must be very difficult for the two people that can go, or three that maybe can go back and forth.
It is. And I have been in that position as a friend. It's not an easy position to be in. And there were definitely, he has a strong group of friends going back to grade school and high school and who I was not, super close to. So that was very clear that they would stay with him and support him, which I was glad for. I wanted him to have support and
Yeah.
connection. And then, I have very close, both female and male friends, that were, very supportive of me. And the people who fell in the middle, it's very hard. I never ever blamed, anyone for maintaining connection with him. I found it, strange and challenging to be where I was, which was on the vineyard, which is a very married place.
Yeah.
I was the only divorced person there at that time. And I think this is common of anyone getting divorced. You go from being a part of something and something that people understand to suddenly being something different. And sometimes people don't know quite what to do with you. Are you going to be invited to couples dinners? Are you just going to be invited to girls' nights? And I had an added element, which was that I'm a very shy and reserved person. But when this happened, um, from the very beginning, I told people exactly what had happened because
Yeah.
I was just so shell shocked. And it still surprises me, but I had a real sense that I wouldn't get through it if I tried to cover it up, to tell a
If you
narrative that
held too
wasn't
much
true.
in, already it's right. Wow.
So he had said to me, I let's say that it's amicable, so that will be better for you. And I just said, no, I will not do that. I will not do that. So I would run into people um, in this pretty conservative environment, and they'd say, "How are you?" And people were coming back to the island during COVID, and
Well,
I would say, I am not good. Yes. And that's the kind of a shocking thing to hear. I think in my previous life, would have probably moved away from that, thinking this is a really tough situation. She probably wants to be private. But what I've learned is, it's so clear that everyone's talking about you, right? It's like this is juicy
yeah.
gossip. And that the people who just came up to me and said, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Or just, this is awful. Like I'm gonna, come over and sit on my porch. Who acknowledged it in some way. It made such a difference. And so now in my life, when people are going through something hard, I try not to worry about saying the wrong thing. I just try and say something.
Say something.
Yep.
I give
Yep.
this advice to everybody. If I've been through a shitstorm of my own, and I would say
Yep.
to people, if you have someone's got cancer or something, you're like, oh, I don't know if I should call. I don't know if I should say anything. Maybe they don't want to hear from me. I don't know. If you're having that debate in your head, always pick up the phone.
I
And
agree. I totally
and
agree. It's
no one's just err on the side of
being
reaching out,
awkward. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
of reaching out. Absolutely. Your nickname was Belle the Good. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe this was a part of like, just the Belle the Good would just, take it and swallow it up, and maybe you just had to
Well,
shed a little bit of that.
I always try and clarify that that was a nickname my brother gave me, and it was not a compliment. I was very nerdy. He was very social, always wanted to like bring me out to a party or clubs, and I was like always,
You're the good
doing
girl.
my homework. I was doing my homework on a Friday afternoon. Um,
Oh,
so he he still teases me about that, but I do think it applies to. I think I always did. Stayed within the lines, like went to the right high school and then the right college and then got the, corporate job I was supposed to get, the achieving thing. I got married. I very much wanted to get married. And when this happened, it was like all these structures that I had created, this future that I had mapped out was suddenly just gone. And I think and for me, other than death and illness, which I've experienced in my life with people close to me, which is far worse, this was the worst thing I could have picked for myself because I
mm-hmm.
wanted an intact family so much. I come from two divorces. I just really wanted that family unit so much. And I think when all of that fell apart, you almost get braver because you're like, I'm gonna, this is all an unknown world to me. And I think it gave me the space to do something different. And I think that uh, my family legacy is of women staying really quiet about this particular thing about male infidelity.
Hello.
Um, that to be really, a good woman and graceful that you clean up the mess, that you protect the man, that you protect the man's reputation. And, I have that in my bones. I watched it. It was never talked about, but I saw that example. And I thought I had married someone so different, who was never going to cheat on me. He was very mild-mannered, very kind, not a public figure in any way. But I had repeated this pattern in a spectacular fashion, more so than my mother and my grandmother, because he didn't want to come back. And I, really thought about what are we doing to attract this? Is this kind of man attracted to us? And why does it keep repeating? And I think putting those pieces together and this inability to lie about what was happening to me just kind of kept leading me down the road of talking about this, and really believing that you can talk openly and honestly about what happened without being vindictive or nasty or trying to just really take someone down.
You brought up. I mean, you referenced your grandmother as the legendary Babe Paley, and if anybody, you saw the Swans, the Ryan Murphy series, you know that she was married to Bill Paley, the legendary media, CEO and titan of CBS, and he was legendarily unfaithful. But yeah, she stayed by him because he never had any intention of going anywhere else. He just wanted to do whatever he was doing. I'm sure you have friends. You've been in rooms. Amongst your girlfriends, you probably have a couple of friends whom you and the girls know. That guy, you're married to a dog, and she probably knows he's a dog, and he, gets on the road and does business trips and does all kinds of things, but he's never leaving the house. And she doesn't really want to know. She doesn't want to go looking because she's afraid of what she's going to find out, and then it's going to open. And when he's around, he's actually quite involved. And there's so many of these possibilities. It seems to me your ex-husband, as broad-sided as he was with what happened, wasn't like interested in that life, right? Being a chronic,
I don't
philanderer
think
type of
so.
guy. He just was like, okay, new me. Here I go.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think that seems more accurate. I kept waiting, when I wrote this piece for the Times, for Modern Love, and I thought when that came out and then when the book came out, I thought I would get inundated with information about maybe 10, 15 years of infidelity. I have not heard that. It still could be true, but I don't think he was working so hard.
Yeah.
It was just not his identity then, I don't think, but
No.
it did shift clearly at some point.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that, I mean, do you think you could have, if you had found, would you have done what your grandmother did, which was like, if you found out this happened and then happened, would you be that woman who says, well, I love my family so much? You said how, what a premium you put on family. Would you have
Yeah,
been able to do that, or is it better this way?
I really don't know. I
Yeah.
think that we were stuck in this house for COVID lockdown. So I thought, when I found out about the affair, that we would do Zoom therapy, that we would try and, I didn't know if I would decide to stay married. It felt like such a deep betrayal. But if he had been, had regretted it and wanted to work on it, and that maybe it was, I think there can be opportunities actually for marriages to reset in a really healthy way, when something like this happens. So I don't think that's impossible. um I Big picture, where I am now, and having um rediscovered writing and being financially independent and all these kind of
Yeah.
unexpected gifts that came from being divorced. I would not go back now. I miss being married. I miss having an intact family. I miss the man that I was married to. Um, but this is, I feel much more like my true self now. So it's hard to say that I would trade it.
It's the worst thing when you go through something terrible. And you and I have different events, but
Mhm.
yours very much public now, mine public too. It just,
Yes.
people say to you, oh, don't worry. It's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. And in the moment, you want to say, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about. And then, I mean, you realize why people say this.
Yep, you
You
do, and it's
Wonderful things
sometimes
happen.
not apparent. Sometimes not apparent for years, but wonderful things do happen. I think
And
it's
they're happening
important.
right now, which let's go. You not only is this book a New York Times bestseller, and I'm assume putting wonderful checks in your account. I don't need no man. You have sold the rights to Terrific Ted Terrific, I call him, of Netflix, the most popular guy in town, and Gwyneth Paltrow is going to star as you. She went to the Spence School in New York. Did you?
I did too. I went there through ninth grade. She's significantly younger than me. I think four
She
or
is.
5 years younger than I am. Yes. So we didn't, and she arrived, I think in middle school maybe. So we did not, I had left for boarding school by the time she arrived. So we
Okay,
did
but
not
you
know
got to
each
do a
other there.
screening at Spence School. I mean, this is a big thing for them. This is a,
Clearly.
not forget 92nd Street Y or whatever. This, you and Gwyneth together at Spence, where two girls went to the same school, never knew each other, and woo!
Mhm. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. No, I'm absolutely, I was so thrilled to hear she was interested. I'm so thrilled that she wants to play this part. I feel unworthy. Um, I think she's just a phenomenal actress, and it's so exciting that she's returned to it. After some time away, I thought she was amazing in Marty Supreme, and I just from the beginning, I felt like she's just a really perfect fit for this.
Did you pursue her? Because I heard she was it a mutual? Because I know she was, from what I understand, she went right after, read the book and was like, no, I have to do that. And she went after it.
I heard that she read the book and was very interested. I know her manager from way back from college. Hadn't talked to her in forever, but she reached out, and it was mutual from the beginning. I
Yeah.
was very excited that she was interested.
Who's producing it?
Stacy Scher, do you know her?
I don't.
She's an incredible producer. We did a Zoom, and we were on for 90 minutes, and she just really understood the book. She really has a phenomenal um, resume and movies that she's done going way back. I feel like I'm in the best of hands, and Heidi Schreck is writing it. And she's so talented and really she really wants to do right by the book, and I feel like it's going to be in the best of hands, and yet I feel such trust in this team, but I think I am comfortable with the creative process, and some things changing, and actually some things changing in the movie might be helpful to me and my kids
Mm-hmm.
to just distance us from it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see it play out. I know things often don't actually get made, but it seems like everyone really wants to make this. So we'll see.
Well, who's playing? Who's playing James or your ex-husband? Who?
I
Someone
don't
who's you
know.
got to make him
I've been
hot
so
and
busy
hateable.
looking. Um, he has to be really appealing because I fell madly in love with my James.
We
Uh,
haven't gotten that far. Do we have some casting? No, not
I
yet.
have not, I've been so vain and thinking only of my own casting. We have not gotten there yet. And I'm sure they'll talk to me about it, but it'll be interesting to see who they cast. My kids are very curious who they would cast for them.
Oh wow! And how? I guess I'll. Uh, since I think about your kids, and one of the things that shocked you entirely when your husband announced he was leaving was he was like, I don't want to like have bedrooms for the kids and stuff. Like, I'm done doing that too. I'm
Yeah.
done being the everyday father who was just hanging a sign like with the kids and like checking out the bird nest in the backyard, and he just, I mean, he
Yeah.
snapped, but it didn't want. That must have been very emotionally difficult for your kids. Have they? manage to come together with their dad and find their relationship?
Um, they're amazing actually about it. And I think he truly believed in doing that, that he was doing something better for them. He didn't want them to have to go back and forth. Um, but it was painful, especially for my youngest, who's 12. But my kids now, this is not a situation where he moved, to the other side of the world
He's
and
there.
doesn't talk to them. They are in touch. He's very kind with them, very sweet. They have figured out how to do things with him that make him comfortable. They go to hockey games. They'll go to his favorite restaurant. Um, they have a nice relationship. It is not, he does not do the things like college applications or,
Hmm.
broken
But he pays
hearts,
for it. I mean, he's
or he writes, he gives me child support. So that he has stayed true to that pledge, that he did not want to do that kind of parenting. And it makes me feel sad for him because these are such great years, the teenage years and the college years, and now that two of them are young adults. And I said to him, at this age, you really, and even at 12, like you have to live with them to really know them, because you chat with them while they're making a smoothie in the kitchen, or you wait for them to get home by curfew. You drive them places, and those are really the moments where you get that time with your kids that is so important. But he couldn't do it. And I found that with my kids, instead of pretending like this was normal, I tried to really acknowledge their reality and say, I know this is really hard. Your dad can't make a home for you right now. And that's really something I don't understand, but that's about him and not about you. He's going through something, and that seemed to be better for
yeah.
them than trying to gloss the whole thing
It's
over.
not you, it's him,
Yeah.
and I think that's accurate because it's definitely not them.
Yep.
Um,
It's really not. And they're all doing great. And this has been a lot for them too. And they're very supportive of me and very proud of me, but they also love and support their dad. So I'm conscious every day that this is a lot for them.
yeah, but the one thing that's when he pays child support, but one thing that is a big shocker in the book is you were so invested in that intact family and that old school, this is the way we do it in the family wagon or the station wagon out for the weekend to what you showed a bit of financial naivete.
Yeah.
You had some money in your family, and he got you to buy the apartment, and then it goes in both of your names, buy the summer place, and then it goes in both of your names. And so he's now,
I did willingly,
you did it
because
willingly. You did it.
I thought that's what you do in a marriage. You share everything.
I pull my
You are
weight.
in it together.
And your lawyer said to you, hey, we got to get this prenup done. And just before it was signed, your ex got you to change it. And
In a way that was
you got
really
lucky
came
that
back
you
to
made it
haunt
out of
me.
that.
Yeah, thank God I made it out. I made it out okay because I kept my homes. And I'm far more fortunate
Why
than
do you
most
think he
people.
came around on that? Because he didn't have to. His names were on there. Was he just like, okay, some people are going to not want to talk to me ever again. And if I do like this, they're literally no one's going to want to talk to me because that is just shitty.
I don't know. I think sometimes or often in divorce it becomes like a desire to win. And I think he wanted to win this, which is to leave with the most money possible. I think he knew that I cared about my home so much and keeping these places intact, and that the threat of losing them made me willing to, I was in a position where I had to give up pretty much everything else.
Right. He had to realize that the kids, though, you don't want to do that. The kid, mom's going to be raising the kids. You take away the home.
Yeah.
that they love and
You
were
want,
raised in.
yeah. So I don't, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know, if he felt peer pressure about it. I just don't know, but I'm really relieved, that I could have that stability. And I had to really kind of, um, thread the needle to get myself there.
Belle Burden is the author of Strangers, Memoir of a Marriage, and I just gotta, look, it's become a Netflix movie. Gwyneth Paltrow will star in the movie. This is incredible. Wow, from a total shitstorm to very exciting sort of life. You are the belle of the ball, and
Really.
you've talked to Oprah. You've been on. So of all the podcasts, and don't throw me in there because we're just here. But all the ones you've done before this. Interviews you've done. Who surprised you? Who did you like? Like, oh, I didn't know that person before, but I don't know.
There've been so many, and they've all been, different in some way.
Steve, take down the
I would have
exclusive.
to,
Take off exclusive off the screen when we do it. Just move the Belle Burden exclusive. Just take that word off. Sorry, Belle. I had to tell my producer something.
I have to say I've had really good experiences with all of you out in LA. I did Amanda de Cadenet's podcast. She
Oh,
was
yeah.
terrific. And I just did the Foster sisters, Aaron and Sarah.
Yes.
And they were amazing. They went
They're crazy. They're cool.
they went very deep, and they're so funny and self-deprecating. So I've really
Where did they go
enjoyed.
deep? I bet they wanted to know about dating now.
Well, what's that?
Are they? I'm sure they pried like crazy on dating now.
They did ask me, and then they did like they tried to manifest for me the right man coming into my life,
Oh
and
yeah,
did it
who is he? What does he look like?
this very sweet way, very touching
And
way.
what did they come up with? Can you give me the profile of this fella? I may
They
know
said
him.
something like, they didn't get specific about the person, but they said that it would be that man's mission, to make me trust again, because I think that is a big a hurdle for me. And it was very sweet to think of it that that person will feel like it's his mission, to make me trust again. That really was a
Wow.
nice way to put it. But I love them. I love Nobody Wants This. So that was
Yeah.
really fun. That was really, really
Have
fun.
you? And of course, you've been asked this a million times. Have you? I'm sure you've been out on a date or two, or are you in the space of? Are you ready to
I go
welcome the
on-
right person?
I go, if someone says I have someone great I'd love you to meet, I will go. I am not someone who, I have not been proactive about it. I can't do online dating. It's too terrifying for me.
Yeah.
But so I'm open to it. I sort of feel like the universe has wanted me to focus on this book and on getting my youngest off to college in August. And then maybe something will open up. But the other part of me is kind of surprised that it's been 6 years and that has not happened.
I have a scenario. You get the
What's that?
youngest off
Yeah.
to college. You're there. You're unpacking the things, and you're like tears in your eyes, and you wave, and you're about to leave, and you look over, and there's a guy doing the exact same thing.
That would be the movie, right? That would be I like that.
I live in Hollywood so long.
Exactly.
It's the only way I can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I think that's the way it'll go down. Do we have any idea when the filming starts for the movie?
I don't know.
No, they got to adapt
we're
it.
still signing contracts and all of that. Just I know these things can move very fast and also very, very slowly. So we'll see.
It's not just for women. Strangers, a memoir of a marriage. It isn't. And although my 86-year-old mother handed it to me in Jupiter, Florida, when I was visiting her, she said, "You ought to try this. It's very nice." I said, "Okay, Mom, let me try." And then I couldn't put it down. It is amazing. It affects us all. It's raw. It's honest. It's very vulnerable and fascinating. I don't know why people just relate to it so beautifully. And I just enjoyed it so much. We have some friends, but it's so nice to meet you. I feel like I've known you for a long time.
Yes, thank you so much, Billy. This has been really great. I'm so happy you invited me on.
Okay, I'll meet you. I'm sure I'll see you soon. Maybe if I swing in to see old Howie up there, our mutual friend, this
Yes.
summer, I'll see you on
Definitely
grounds.
let me know. I'll be there.
Okay, Belle Burden
great.
right there. And folks, absolutely, it's a must read. It is a must read. That's it for us. Thanks for listening to Hot Mics exclusively on TuneIn and watching on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you get it, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for doing it. Make sure you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, everything. That's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful long weekend. Back on Monday, ready to rock. Bye-bye.
Me doing me, right?
Quite a sharp. That's insane.
Billy Bush. What a pleasure.
Another compliment. There she is.